All right, so let's just get right into the story. Fuck it. Well, we both know that's not true. I'm just trying to warm up a little bit, but I feel like on Patreon you guys are a lot more forgiving. You guys are actually on my side. I'm just getting fed up with YouTube people. I just don't get it. I put up a shitload of content. I don't, they're like, your shit's whack now. Well, what? Why are you still watching it? Like, I don't get it. If it's so whack, why don't you just stop watching it? And instead of like leaving a comment that they add up, they start fucking with your head. So this is part of. I'm gonna focus this week. This is like my Patreon week. I'm gonna really focus on content today. I just had to go grocery shopping, get everything like set. So I don't even have to leave my house. I want to wake up and I want to start just making content tomorrow. I want to try to do 5, 6, 7 videos, so I don't have to work every single day. Focus on other shit. Happy 420. This is kind of a standalone story. You know, typically this would be for the $10 tier and up. And I think eventually I'll trickle down all my stories. So, the more you're paying, it's like literally consistent. Like I want to get to a point where like you're paying for 3 or 4 videos a day. I'm capable. Hey, shh. Landlord's dog is so fucking annoying. And I know that all they want is love. So I try to be compassionate, but I don't know, I just want to punt him like a fucking football. Butt fuck you. All right. So I get all confused when I say butt fuck dogs. All excited. I ever tell you about the Celly I had that told me that he fucked a dog? I ever talk about that in any of my videos? We can explore that at another time. But yeah, I mean that's ultimately the plan. It's like I'm capable of like I have so many like I don't think I'm gonna run out for a very long time. I think that YouTube people think that I am. They don't realize though that I've left out so much shit so that I could come back later and like revisit other series. Like it'll be like sequels to series where I keep talking about things that they have no idea about. If that makes sense. I don't know. Let me just get into the story. Okay, so this is for everyone because it's 420. It's kind of a standalone story. So I'm just gonna do it, post it, and let's see what time it is right now. It is 10:04. I'll try to make this video, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I'll make it as long as it needs to be. Okay. So last time we had talked about, for those of you that aren't this deep into the story yet, I'm in Florida. I've been sent there because I was trying to go to rehab. I started getting kicked out of rehabs. I was in and out. And this is towards like the beginning of my journey in Florida. And essentially I'd been kicked out of halfway houses or sober livings. I think they're called halfway houses in Florida, but sober living, same shit. I've been kicked out for a false positive. And then eventually I was homeless out there. I was sleeping on the beach. Can you stop doing that? Stop it. Annoying dog. Stop. You're fucking my video. Go do that somewhere else. See, like normally, and that happens sometimes when I'm doing a video on YouTube and then I'll just stop. And like with you, I feel like I don't have to do that. I can just keep going. Anyway, the part of the story that we're in, I was sleeping at the beach. My mom would send me money here and there pretty sparingly because my dad would cock block it, My mom would be like, sure, sweetheart, what do you need? And Frank would be like, no, don't give that junkie anything. Now, I've heard people comment and be like, Frank would never talk like that. Listen, there's Frank on Frank Fridays and there's Frank when he's not happy with me. I'm sure you can imagine all the shit that I've put him and my mom through. Like he can be pretty hardcore at times. He's really bipolar. He won't admit that, but he seems that way. His mood swings are out of control. My mom, generous as fuck. Send me money whenever I want it. I'm her only son and she just wants to coddle me in the same way that Karina coddles Nico all the time. She just wants to baby me. 34, she still treats me like I'm 4 or 5 months old. So she would send me money, but then like anytime I'd ask, but then my dad, to this day, like recently I don't even remember I was trying to buy a painting for this charity, $120. And I I had to use a credit card to pay for it. So I tried to use Karina's credit card and it wouldn't let me because the billing address was different than what was on the credit card. Like her name, and then it was for me, and it got all, you know how it does that sometimes? Try to buy something, but the billing address is different. So then it just won't let you. So I had to use a credit card. I had plenty of money in my PayPal. I had like $700 or $800 at the time. I called my dad. This was like a month ago, 2 months ago. I called my dad. Hey dad, I need $120. Like I haven't asked him for money for a long, long, long time. So I hit him up. I'm like, hey dad, can I get $120 so I can buy this painting from this charity? I can pay. And before I could even say that I can PayPal you beforehand, he's just like, no. Well, wait, hold on. I'd asked my mom first, and my mom had said yes. And then I could hear my dad being like, what is he saying? And like, she kind of put the phone down and she's like, he's asking for money. My mom is a loyal woman. She's loyal to her husband, very generous to her son, very loyal to my dad. They've been married for 40 years. And so then my dad jumped on and he's like, what do you need it for? And I tried to explain it. Before I could say that I'd PayPal him up front, he just cut me off. No, Ryan, this has been a problem your entire life. Now, me. You want to get butt fucked? It's going to be right now. Now. You can't wait to be butt fucked. You can't put butt fucking on layaway. Fuck that. You're a piece of shit junkie. That's how he really talks. No, I'm just kidding. But kind of, I mean, he doesn't say the butt fucking stuff, but he, he just he'll scowl me to the point where I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. Hang up. Ask my friend Jeremy. Did it like that. I PayPal'd him. End of story. That place that I was buying the painting actually ended up ripping me off. They still haven't given me the painting. That was literally like a month or two ago. And we're kind of going at it. But anyway, my mom had sent me $50. It was like, and I was like begging. I was so hungry. I was panhandling out there. This is right around the time that Hurricane Katrina had happened. So like I'd make a cardboard sign and say that I was a Hurricane Katrina survivor. I don't know if it was this point. It was some point in Florida, somewhere in the timeline when I was homeless out there. And basically that particular night I was just out of energy. So my mom ended up sending me $50 because I begged her for it. I spent it on heroin. I got a pack of cigarettes and a scratcher. Scratched the scratcher. I won $500. I guess the real story behind that, like where I actually take the time to develop it a little better, is better than that. It was like in the rain and I was like crying and I fucking held up this ticket. I won $500. It was out of control. So I ended up getting this motel. This motel is somewhere in Delray Beach. I don't remember what the name of it is, but it's right by like the Alano Club there. So they have like, most towns or cities have an Alano Club, which is basically the central location for Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. It's like where they facilitate meetings, just some like clubhouse. Usually you can buy food there. There's like usually like air hockey table that doesn't work, maybe a couple foosball tables that like are missing like their heads and shit. And then just a bunch of biker looking guys, hitting on like 19-year-old newbies. Yeah, that's pretty much every city, every town in the country. It was one of those places. And I remember there's like a strip of motels right around there. So after I won the $500, I won at night. And I made it all the way up to this motel strip right by the Alano Club. I forget what it was, like $30 or $40 a night. Typical cracked out Florida shithole motels. Even though Delray Beach is pretty much like the Malibu of Southern Florida. I mean, it's that and Boca Raton. It's like Malibu and Pacific Palisades of that area. It's like very high class. But they still have shitty motels. Everyone has shitty motels. Of course they do. That's where the politicians get butt fucked by, by male prostitutes on coke. And then they want to like lock everyone up for like simple possessions. No. It's fucking gross. Possession? It's disgusting. And then they're always caught like sucking some dude off in like a bathroom stall and like some scandal. Remember that at the airport? So this is like the most bizarre. I was like watching TV and it's like senator from Kentucky was caught giving fellatio in various bathrooms all across the country. He was just caught in an airplane blowjob sting. I was like, what the fuck? That really happened. I don't even remember the details, but I remember hearing about it. So that's why those motels exist, so that those politicians can go do debaucherous shit in rich towns. That's the truth. So I go there, and always my strategy in Florida. So I was in Florida for about a year. Florida's weird. Like, I didn't see a lot of tweakers when I lived there. It was crack cocaine and heroin. This was in 2006, 2005 or 2006. I'm sure there's meth there now. I have no idea, but there's a lot of cocaine, a lot of crack cocaine, and really shitty heroin that came in these little pill capsules, and they were garbage. It was powder heroin, but it was just junk. And typically, if I was at a motel, I always do this. I'll like get my little ice bucket. I'll act like I'm on some baller shit. I weigh like 126, broken out with measle looking acne. And I'll like get the ice bucket, and I'll just like walk to the ice machine where the vending machines are. I'll just post up there like till I see like a sketchy drug addict person. This is if I'm by myself or if I'm like with a girl and we're looking for drugs. And then like right when they get there, I'll try to look cool and just be like, hey man, what are you doing? He's like, well, what do you mean? What am I doing? What are you doing? I'm getting ice from my room. You know what I'm talking about? No, I don't know what you're talking about. But once in a while, they know what I'm doing. And they'll be like, I have crack. I'm like, I smoke crack. Let's do this. And so I had a lot of like cracked out adventures this way. Anyway, this particular place. So I get there, I do my typical ice bucket, move to try to go procure drugs, whatever shady motel that I'm at the time. And I see this girl. This girl is probably about 40, and sometimes in these stories I forget what the age is specifically because I was 19 or 20 at the time. I think I was 19. I was 19 and I turned 20 while I was there, but I was 19 for this story. And so at 19, you look at somebody that's like 35 and they seem old to you. I'm that age now. I don't think I'm old, but I have gray hair. My balls are already like losing their aesthetics. Like they're wrinkled. They're like, it looks like, like, like when you're a kid and you rub the brown lunch bags against the carpet and make like it gives it that like texture, and then you can make turkeys out of it. The turkey gobbler. You know what I'm talking about? There's turkey gobbler vaginas too, but this is like it has that tech. That's what happens to your balls as you get older. And they start hanging. And if you have a small dick like me and your balls are bigger than your dick, it looks so disproportionate because like for years gravity was, I wouldn't say kind to me because it was small, but it would look like a cannon, it would kind of like hang there, like the balls would be here. It would kind of just hang like that, like in place. No, if I like had to take a picture or something, get a little blood in there and go like pucker my lips, like trying to look sexy. But it was still small. But gravity didn't make it look too bad. But now, as you get older, your balls actually start separating. So it's not like the cannon that's put together. It starts drooping down like a fucking earring or something. It's like, in a spork? No, not a spork. What are they called? A stork. Stork. The like mythical birds that like drop off babies in cartoons, and like they have a sack with the baby and it's like dangling like a pendulum. That's what it looks like. So my balls have actually dropped, and it's like some grotesque like lunch bag teardrop. So now I have these big ass wrinkled balls, and I still have this little tiny root beer barrel head. It looks so fucking horrible, It was Karina's birthday last night, and we were fucking, and when I took my pants off, it was like, and the sack was like that, and I was like, how do I look? And she's like, bomb. I was like, I already know. So anyway, so I'd say this girl was she was either like 35 or 40. Let's just say that. She's significantly older than me. She's brunette. She kind of looked like Nev Campbell in Scream 2 specifically. Short hair like that. Um, Fake boobs. Cut off like little Levi shorts with like the ass cheek popping out. Confederate flag, patch on the ass pocket of the cut off Levi's. And, I'm like, hey, what's up? What kind of ice are you getting? She's like, the same kind as I'm getting the same kind that you're getting. I was like, really? I was like, I have even better ice in my room. And she's like, I was like, you got any drugs? She's like, I got crack. I stole it from my husband. He's a faggot. I'm like, cool. Fuck that faggot. Let's go. And we go into to my room. I have no drugs. She really has crack. So she has, I don't know, it's pretty significant. Probably about like an 8-ball, probably like 3.5 grams of crack. But like it was like in like big boulders, but it was like dense boulders, so it would have weighed. And she has like this little crack tube with the pink lipstick rings around it. You could tell that she was just a straight crackhead, but she hadn't fully like gone over the edge yet. She was still recognizable as like, she had like a stripper look, some trashy like biker slut. Excuse me, patrons, if that's offensive. I don't mean it, but I'd imagine you know what I'm talking about nonetheless. So we started smoking crack. Swear, just out of the ice bucket trick. I was always good at that. It was all about eye contact. I was like, what kind of ice are you getting? She's like, same kind as yours. Like flirting with me. Now, at the time, I have no idea what she, like, what do you want with me? I'm like this, like, emaciated little junky kid with acne. Started smoking rock together. Now, when I smoke crack, I get horny, or I get paranoid, or I get both. This particular time, I got horny. It was really weird. It was like, if crack was like a subplot of porn, it would have been this right here. I mean, it just hit on her at the ice machine, whips out the glass tube, and then all of a sudden I get horny and I'm taking off those little Levi shorts. We had sex. He's like a lot older than me. Kind of felt wrong, but like in an okay way. And, I misrepresented the way she talked. She had like a pretty thick New York accent, which I don't know if I can do. That's why I didn't try to imitate it. But, we did that, kept smoking crack, didn't really talk that night. Smoke, fuck. Wake up the next day. She's still in bed with me. She didn't leave. Now, in all my adventures, going around doing drugs, hanging out in seedy parts of the country, typically when something like that has happened to me, when like I just run into some like hood rat like that, and I'm like, yeah, let's have sex and do drugs. And they're like, okay. Usually, they're not there when you wake up. Or I'm the one taking off, but she was still there, naked, arm draped over me. I looked at her. It's not like I was drunk the night before, I was like relatively sober. I was doing heroin, but like I said, the stuff that I was doing was like not it. It just wasn't very potent. With the heroin in Florida, at least the shit that I was getting was not good. So it's kind of weird in the morning. It's a little more sobering, and I'd gone to the bathroom. Back then I could just like hit my arm, and I come out and she's just sitting there. She's like, I can't do the New York app, but she'd be like, hey, she'd be like, maybe we could do, I don't know. I can't do it. I'd have to practice. I've never really practiced that, a female New Yorker accent. She had that kind of accent. She's like, yeah, like maybe we could fuck again like we did yesterday. She didn't talk like that. I don't know why I'm trying to do that. Anyway, so we end up just having sex first thing in the morning. She doesn't realize that there's like, I'm like staining the sheets with blood that's like leaking out of my arm. And we start this little run together. I mean, she has a lot of money. She starts telling me her story. I don't really tell her shit. She tells me that her husband is like a big biker. I forget which motorcycle club he was from, but he was a one percenter. And according to her, he had gotten into meth, into the cooking side of it, and he started selling it to different drug dealers. They were from, I think, upstate. I'm not really sure, but wherever they were from, he was making it somewhere in New York, and he was a biker. And according to her, he had fallen in love with a dude. When she said that by the ice machine, it was true. And she at first, she's just telling me the story. I don't know. I'm like 19 at the time. I don't really know what to believe, what not to believe. I know she has drugs. I tell her that I'm doing heroin as well. She doesn't care about that. She has money that she stole from him. She's like, I'll start, paying for the room. My husband's not going to find us here. Doesn't matter. He's got, um, some Native Americans fucking thumb is in his asshole somewhere in upstate New York. Took his shit. Now I'm just partying here. And I need someone to party with. I need a little young buck like you. I was like, all right. And so this goes on for like, I don't know, 2 or 3, 4, maybe 5 days. Not a full week, but nice little stretch of time. Eventually, she starts getting kind of weird on the crack. She'll be like, like, we'll be fucking, right? And she would want to ride me. That's it. She wouldn't let me, I don't know. That's like what her thing was, like riding me, whatever. It was cool. Less work for me. I'm just like sitting there. She's doing her thing. And she's like, yeah, pretend that you're my husband's faggot lover. Yeah, oh yeah, pretend that you're a faggot and you're my husband's faggot lover. And I'd be like, just, and that sucks when someone's riding. When you already have a small dick, it like falls out all the time. You lose the hardness. It's a wrap. Shit just like breaks, But you would say stuff like that. Call me Bobby. Bobby was the guy that was butt fucking my husband. Fucking disgusting gaylord that he was. Call me Bobby. Oh yeah, fuck me like it, my husband's gay lover. So it kind of like, it was like turning me off. And I mean, eventually, she was getting so weird. And by the way, first time ever trying that voice, I think I did okay. I was just kind of on the spot before. Like, I don't premeditate this shit, just based on memory, and then I try to imitate the person. But so she started like getting weird at, she was like, had this weird obsessive fantasy that like she was like getting revenge on her husband. Who knows I don't know what was up with this lady, right? But I start getting paranoid, especially when she'd be on like these long distance phone calls, like talking to like people with like like really like cliche like movie star villain names. She'd be like, yeah, is this fucking Snake? Yeah, you tell Tommy that I'm gonna fuck him in the ass with my fucking dildo when I'm back upstate. And I'd be like, just like have my legs crossed, like, watching like the Mary Tyler Moore Show and like Nick at Night on the fucking TV. And so it became less and less about sex, more and more about me getting kind of scared because I didn't know who she was attached to. Every time she was on the phone, she was like, yeah, is this Billy Goat Blood? Hey, it's Renee. Her name was Renee. It's fucking Renee. You know who I am? Yeah. Oh, did I tell you my husband's a fucking queer? Disgusting. I'm in South Bay right now. I'm fucking some little 19-year-old boy. Fuck that queer. Oh yeah, fuck that queer. I'm gonna suck this kid's dick right now. I don't give a fuck. She became like more manly. I was already young, so it's like if you're gonna sleep with an older woman, you can't really have them like they have to be effeminate. If you're a heterosexual, you can't really like have like some domineering like masculine like that always wanted like to pretend that you were some dude that was like gay mistress of. It was weirdo shit. Eventually, and I wasn't paying. I was not paying. We'd run out of drugs, and then I just ask her for money, and she'd be like, yeah, can you get me some fucking rocks too? buy yourself some of that. What did she call it? Was it? I forget what she called it. It was I think it was Diesel, maybe. No, Boy. Yeah, it was Boy. Buy yourself some of that fucking Boy and bring me some rocks. So, like, I started getting paranoid. I'm starting to think that her husband is going to come after me. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that she's always on the phone. She's talking to these weirdos back in New York. Seems like she has an endless supply of money. So, like, I'm like, I'm gonna rip this chick off. Fuck it. Fuck it. Rip her off. I'm gonna go get my own motel room in like the same motel. But so eventually, like, and that's how it goes. I don't know if anyone's been on a run. Yeah, I'm the master of hotel runs, and just like living off convenience store food and like hot dogs that you get at 7-Eleven and like Fun Dip, like that's a meal, like a Monster or something. Well, not back then. I don't even think they had Monster, but Dr. Pepper or something. Eating pizza and like eating half of it, like just leaving it like on the counter until it hardens, and then getting so hungry, like in like the brief moment that you're not high, and just like eating it and tastes like a piece of plank wood or something. Done it a million times. And what happens is inevitably, especially if it's like a stranger like that, the sexual thing just, it burns out. It burns out like a wick, or like a wick just going out, right? So it came time for me to jack her. So I tell her, I was like, look, Renee, we're paying an awful lot for these drugs. Listen, I got this guy, right? He's in West Palm Beach, the shady spot over here. He's been my dealer for a long time. This is like some this is like some Breaking Bad or like Sons of Anarchy level dialogue, because we were both like so lame. And I was like, I got this dealer. I can get us an ounce of pure cocaine. I can get us an ounce of pure heroin. That way we never have to leave the hotel. I'll just bend over and you can pretend that I'm Bobby. Maybe you can stick the TV remote up my asshole again like last night. I don't even care. I just want drugs and I just want to party. And she's like, I love it in you, kid. All right, how much do you need? And I'm like, I need like $4,000. She's like, $4,000. I was like, well, I can get the cut on stuff. I can get the stuff that's been cut. But wouldn't you rather have the pure? And she's like, I had no idea it was going to be that much. There's no fucking way I'm paying. I'll give you $70 for some rocks. Another 40 for some heroin. I was like, fuck. Now I had to like rethink my strategy. So eventually I got her to give me like $400 or $500. No, it was some weak ass, like, thought I was going to get 1,000. She had it like that, and there's no way that I was going to like try to steal it. Oh yeah, I forgot she had a gun at the spot too. She has like some big, like old school antique fucking, I don't even know what it's called, but it's like a super long barrel. It was crazy looking. She had one of those, like it looked like one of those guns that a flag would come out of, but it was just this like super long, stout, like, I don't even know what to call that. I'm not like a huge gun guy, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So I took this money from her. She's like, you're going to be back, right? Bring the strawberry scented lubrication. And I was like, yeah, no problem. The more crack I smoked, the older this chick looked to me. So anyway, I just take a burner, and that money that I got from her, plus a little bit of money that, I still had from when my mom had sent it, I started getting motels and spending it on drugs, burned out in like 3 or 4 days. I spent it all. There I was again with nothing. Didn't even have a cigarette to my name. I'd just been in motels, basically binging out by myself. That's where I got into injecting crack cocaine. I wasn't really into that. Back in California, I would just shoot powder coke with heroin because I love speedballs. Out there, I don't know. A lot of people would put vinegar or lemon juice, something acidic, to make the crack water soluble again. So I would put vinegar. I'd buy one of those little lemon like comes in a little plastic yellow lemon thing at the grocery store. And I'd sit there and I'd go buy crack. And the reason was is because I like where I was scoring, I'd found this motel. I think it was in West Palm Beach. I don't know. I'd found a motel somewhere that was close to a bad area. I couldn't get powder cocaine. So I started getting crack and I started breaking it down. And I was doing speedballs of crack and heroin. So eventually I ran out of all that money. I had to call my parents again. This time I'm like, look, I just keep relapsing. I can't get better. Can you please at least pay for me to go to a sober living so I can get back into the program, so I can get back into step work? And, people that are tuning in that were on the $3 tier, I'd gotten sober for 67 days, 66 or 67 days, somewhere I forget what the exact number. I think it was 67. And I had a sponsor, I had a job. I was commuting from Delray or Boca. I don't know. All these places are so confusing. I would take a bus, and then I would take a subway to Miami. I worked for this like telemarketing place that was selling diamond drill bits. I was doing really good. I was sober, doing what I'm supposed to. I had this bisexual sponsor. It was a creep, but whatever. I stayed sober, and then I got a false positive. They said I was on benzos, and I wasn't. I just was on antidepressants, and I guess it came up as a false positive. They kicked me out in the middle of the night. They gave me $300 as like a cash deposit that my parents had put up. So, releasing me in the middle of the night on a false positive, everyone's mad at me, into the Florida night with $300. I was like, fuck it. Everyone thinks I'm doing drugs. Anyway, I'm going to do them. And this is the tail end of that run. So eventually I had to surrender to the fact that I could not keep it up. I just didn't have the energy. And I've been doing speedballs for, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, not including the crack run and the heroin that I was doing before that. That stuff starts to take a real toll on your neurology. You start feeling horrible, and you go through this roller coaster, these peaks and valleys of like depression, and then it evens out, and then it goes down, and then it goes up into these manic fits, and it drives you crazy, and you lose that ambition to hustle. So my parents said that the only way they'd help me is if I went to a sober living, because that's what I'd ask for. I'd say, put me back in rehab, send me to a sober living. And my dad's like, okay, I'm not going to spend money for rehab again because you keep meeting up with girls and just running off, but I'll put you in a sober living out there. So I'd already been kicked out of Mustard Seed, which was the first one. I don't remember what the name of the second one was, but it was like these 2-bedroom apartments. Very, very nice. It was very upscale. This one was in Delray for sure. And they would give you a roommate. It was a weird spot. It wasn't one of those like really community oriented sober livings where you like live with a big group of people and you do a bunch of shit together. This was just an apartment. You lived in with someone else. 10 o'clock curfew. They tested you randomly. That was it. So I moved in there, and I met my cellie. I met my roommate. He was some chef. I forget what his name was, but he was like some chef. Pretty much all I remember. I don't remember what the guy looks like. I just remember I graduated from the Culinary Arts Academy of Van Rouge. Where the fuck is that? Oh, it's an online course. No, all right. I just remember that. So I moved in there. Seems like an okay guy. I'm there like, I don't know, a few days, just kind of like doing my thing. I had a skateboard at this point, and I really hated it. I had to be sober to some degree. And a few days into it, I decided to go relapse. Like, fuck it. All right. The good old wash and dry. Either you go to rehab for a week, you're out of that mental anguish, and then you go right back into a run, or you go to jail for a couple weeks. Wash and dry. So I went out looking for drugs, and I found this area that was ghetto. It was like a bad part of Delray, which is an oxymoron because there are no bad parts. But this is like the worst part you could get to. And there was like, some big old black dude with like these like cornrow. He was like, "What's up?" And I was like, "Hey, you got boy?" And he's like, what the fuck you talking about? Some hair on? God, that didn't do that good. I gotta be, it's hard to like go back and forth. Patreon videos, I just kind of feel I have more freedom. So he called it hair on, and he's like, you fucking crazy. This is all I got. I got this. Giving this handful of the shittiest weed I've ever seen. It's like well, I guess we'd call Mexican swag in California. It had like stems and seeds, and it looked like hash browns that were leftovers from Denny's that had been in your refrigerator for a week. I was like, what the fuck? You're standing on the corner selling weed? The fuck? What kind of token ghetto black dude are you? And he's just kind of like looking at me. He's like, you want the trees or not? I'm like, yeah. Fucking gives me the money. No, this weed was so shitty. I had to go to some liquor store and buy an entire blunt wrap just to smoke this shit. That's the only way I could get stoned off it. It would give me a headache because of all the seeds and shit. Try to pick them out, but I wouldn't. I'd start smoking at this like baseball field right by the sober living that I was living at. So what I would do is go out all day, skateboard. There's a skate park right around there. I got addicted to smoking shitty weed. I knew I was going to get tested at some point, and I was fucked. But the thing is I came in dirty for weed. So that one's always like, you can like, well, I'm going to be dirty for 30 days. So it kind of, I've always used that one. So I keep smoking. And at some point I'd gotten a fake ID I think I just found a wallet, and there was some guy that looked nothing like me. He had like buck teeth, and he was like some like, I don't even know how to describe him, like some Revenge of the Nerds type guy, like Taco, but a white guy. And he was like 39. I was like 19. I was like, fuck, I'd take it to like these Middle Eastern like liquor stores. I'd be like, it's me. Oh, okay. And they let me buy whatever. So now I started drinking 40s, and I was smoking blunts out there. And just kind of skating around, getting into whatever mischief I could. Now, I found that there were like these commercial trains that I could hop on the back of, all drunk, drink a couple Mickey's 40s, smoke a blunt, and I'd jump on these trains, and like I could like travel from like all over Florida. I started doing it little by little. And that was one of the things that I would do, is just get stoned, drunk, get on these trains, and kind of just look up as like the night scrolled past me, stars, trees, pretty depressing existence. One night, this is where this story gets interesting. One night, I go to this mall. Now, I've been to the mall before. Batman Begins had just come out, I don't know, at some point. And I was at rehab when it came out, and I really wanted to see that movie. It looked like a decent Batman movie. And it was a cool trilogy. I really liked it. But there was no way I was going to miss Batman Begins. So I was in rehab for like 2 weeks, and I just AWOL'd one day. Walked to a mall, panhandled because I had no money. Got like $18, whatever I needed for the movie, and some popcorn. Probably more than that. I don't remember. And I went and I watched it. And then I walked right back to rehab, and I got yelled at and lectured and put on timeout or whatever the fuck they did to me. But I got to see Batman Begins. I really didn't care. And I would like tell everyone, I'd be like, yeah, I do what I want, man. They're not going to stop me from seeing that movie. And then, so anyway, I knew this mall. So one day, and it was right by the sober living. So now I'm at the sober living, and, on like weekends, I think the curfew is like midnight. So I could be out a little later. It's probably like 7:00 or something. I went there, I had nothing better to do. All I had was my skateboard, and I had like a half a pack of Newport 100s. I see these two girls sitting on this bench. They keep looking at me. And so I kind of just stop and I look at them. And they're like, hey, do you have an extra smoke? And I look at them, about my age, I'm like, yeah. Give them both a cigarette. I was like, how you guys doing? Now, one of them was more attractive than the other. So I kind of had my sights on her. And her friend was like really like, like when there's like a pretty girl and then like her best friend that's not pretty. And then she's like just so mean to everybody because she's so mad that she's getting the attention and that this girl never gets the attention. And that only lasts like in high school, maybe a little bit of college, but eventually people start realizing that like there's more to people than just the way you look, because looks just mean nothing. Like the hottest girls in the world have been just the worst people in my lives, just narcissistic, fucking mean, looks aren't everything, but you know, we were like teenagers, so it was different back then. So they're telling me that they're from New York, another people from New York, and um, mm, I'm running out of battery. Hold on. That would be bad. In the middle of a fucking story. Okay. Hmm. I'm like sweating. All right. So I think this video is like 40 minutes long. Perfect. So so these girls are telling me that they're visiting from New York. It's the summer, and that they're with their parents. They come down to Delray Beach for vacation every summer, and they said that they can get into the movie theater for free. They have connections. We have connections. I was like, that's awesome. I was such a loser back then. Like a free movie was like such a treat for me. The movie was The Devil's Rejects. Devil's Rejects had just come out, and we walked up to the ticket box, and it was like some teenage kid, and he just gives him the thumbs up, and we walk right in and go see The Devil's Rejects, which is a pretty gnarly movie to go see with like a random couple girls that you just met. They just bummed a cigarette off of you, and like now you're in the movie theater with them watching that movie is pretty heavy. There's certain scenes that are. So I'm sitting next to the one that I think is pretty. So it's me, her, and then her friend is right there. And in the middle of the movie. So like the movie starts, and all the killing and rape and all the weirdo shit that's happening in that movie is happening, and I'm just like, you want to be my girlfriend? And she looks at me and she's like, for sure. I was like, copy. Keep watching. Movie keeps getting gnarlier and gnarlier. I was like, dumb boyfriend and girlfriend's kiss. For sure. We just start like doing the nastiest, most awkward, like fucking grossed me out, and I was the one doing it. And her friend's just like, oh, you are such a slut, Amy. Disgusting. I don't know if that was her name. I don't remember. So anyway, so we what ends up happening? Oh yeah, okay. So then we leave, and they had to go home. They had to go home before me. And they're like, oh, we got to be home. It's probably like 10 o'clock now. I had to be home, I think, in an hour or two. I don't remember what the curfew was. But the girls are like, they're like, hey, and of course I'm holding my new girlfriend's hand. I'm like, how old are you guys? 18. I'm like, are you still in high school? Fuck no. We graduated last year. Sounds good. Okay. And they're like, we're bored here. Maybe like you can come hang out at the skate park with us tomorrow. I was like, yeah, no problem. I was like, I'd do anything for my girlfriend. You know what I'm talking about? For sure. So they ask me if I can get any weed, you know? They're like, hey, do you think you can get any crippity chronic? I was like, for sure. They're like, cool. How much is that? Eighth. I'm like $60, but I can probably get it for 50. And she's like, no, I'll give you 60. It's no, you just get cigarettes or something. All good. Hands me the money, $60. Like, I'll see you tomorrow around what, 3 o'clock, you want to say? You bring me my crippity chronic? I was like, yeah, no problem. She's like, okay, I love you. I was like, I love you too. Yes, I just kind of skate home, thinking about the night I had, thinking about the fucking weird ass rape scene in Devil's Rejects, and I was making out with some random girl next to me while that shit's playing, and her friend was like, and on top of that, I got $60. What the fuck? That was a cool night. Cool. And I just planned on burning them, you know? I was just a scumbag back then. I didn't care, you know? I'm like, okay, $60. I mean, it's not like my parents were giving me money. I had to go panhandle every single day to get a dime sack of weed, to get the 40s, you know, to get cigarettes. I mean, I was a profession. I think that's when the Katrina thing was happening. I'm not sure, but I don't know. That's one of many like hustles I had out there. So next day, I wake up, I go home, wake up. The chef isn't there. I kind of stretch. And I start thinking about the girls from the night before, and I look at like what time it is. It's like 11:30 a.m. I'm like, what else do I have to do? Maybe I'll just get them the weed and you know we can hang out. But they wanted good weed. They didn't. If I showed up with the shit that I've been scoring in the hood from like the most fucking disingenuous token ghetto black dude I've ever met, the most whitewashed drug dealer who only sold weed. It was like some fucking mobile dispensary. He acted like he was like actually like selling drugs in the corner, but it was weed. It was the weirdest shit ever. May as well just have a lemonade stand, sell spiked lemonade or something. I mean, what the fuck? So I decided to go out and try to score chronic because I was like, well, there has to be good weed in Florida somewhere. I mean, it's not just this shitty dirt weed, is it? So I go on my mission on my skateboard, you know, listening to music. I think I was listening a lot to Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, and I think I was listening to Bark at the Moon, Ozzy Osbourne solo. So you know, I was like skating around, and I get to this grocery store. I don't remember what the name of the grocery store chains are out in Florida, but I get to this grocery store, and I'm kind of just like looking for people in the parking lot that might have weed. Can't find anybody that looks like, I mean, everybody that I'm looking at is straight up Florida people. Elderly people buying prunes that have like floral fucking shirts that were probably like their most studly shirt like 37 years ago. You know that they like iron it and like hunch out, put it on, like hunch over with their cane, like walk to the store. It's really sad. I shouldn't be saying shit like that. But that's what kind of people are around. Old, useless fucks like that. I'm just kidding. So I go into this grocery store and I'm looking. I see girls my age, and then finally I see this white dude with a big old gold medallion like necklace, and he was like wearing like a matching tracksuit. It looked like Eminem in the early years. I was like, oh, that guy's got weed for sure. And I get behind him and I'm like acting like I'm buying. I think I did buy like a get 25-cent single beef jerky. Can't even believe they sell. Who the fuck would buy a beef jerky that size for 25 cents? Me. Because I wanted an excuse to be in line with him. And it like wasn't the express line. There like he had like all this crazy shit. There's like people behind me, and I like put the little like separation fucking stick on the conveyor belt thing. Put my one 25-cent Slim Jim. Like I was like doing some like power shopping, and so I pay for it. We leave, and like he's walking out with his groceries, and I was like, hey. I was like, what's up, man? And he's like, what's up? This guy talked blacker than the other guy, you know? And he's like, what's up? And I was like, you got any weed, dude? He's like, oh, no, 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 no. Uh-uh. Nah, nah. It's like a really weird reaction, you know? And I'm like, I didn't really know how to I was like, okay, fucking weirdo. I was about to leave, and he's like, I got something way worse than that. Way worse. You know, this is a dirty Southern white boy. I got something way, way, way grimier than that shit. He's like, but it's a little too hardcore for you. I can already tell. I'm already knowing. I'm like, really? Something better than weed? I was like, fuck, I got $60. I'll buy literally anything. If you have fucking special edition glue that I can sniff, I'm there. He's like, nah, I just got China White, boy. I was like, what? Dude, I'll give you $60 and I'll suck your dick. What's up, dude? You have China White heroin? Thank God. Fucking worst heroin I had ever come across was in Florida. He's putting his groceries away. I'm like, do you have any works? He's like, come on, little boy. Come on. Opens his back seat. He has like boxes of syringes. I was like, how did I pick this guy? What the I was like winning some sort of like junkie lottery or something. So he puts everything in the trunk, gives me a bunch of rigs. I'm like stuffing my pockets with them and jump in the front seat with him. He pulls out, it had to be like a full ounce of China White. It was like a, big as an onion. And I'm looking at it, I'm just like, oh my God. He's like, no, I was gonna make a really perverted joke right now. But I gave him the $60 for it. And I was like, here's 60. He's like, oh, here's my number. My name's TJ. I was like, cool. And we all know who TJ is from the Mike Virgin story. And that's how I met him. So he ended up giving me his phone number, and he gave me some like sample of this China White. Now it's not like the China White they have now that's like fentanyl. It's like pure fentanyl. You do like a little shot, and you're just like, it's like you're like violently loaded. This was like real euphoric. Like you shoot it, pins and needles go from wherever you're injecting it up to your head, back down to your toes. Tickle the cannonballs that are still there. The real shit, real good heroin. And he gave me a really big amount he became my dealer. So he'd always skim me. I think he was just a piece of shit. He was like a drug pusher. He's like, here, I'll give you this fat amount that'll get you strung out. And here's my phone number in case you need more. Good luck. I was like, all right, cool. I had a bunch of rigs and this fat sack of hair. I don't know. It was probably like a 1 like a gram and a half almost, like something like insane for $60. That's why China White's expensive. And I skated back to the sober living. Now I get in there. I'm like, hello, chef, are you here? Hear nothing. I'm like, I'm going to get straight loaded right now. Fuck yeah. I lock the door, grab the ice tray, or I grab, I'm looking for a spoon, to cook the heroin with. You don't even need to cook China White. You just put it in water and literally just liquid. It's like oil, it's like cocaine. Put it in the water, real China White. Maybe you cook it a little bit to get some of the impurities, but it just like turns into this like very, very, very diluted cat piss looking shit. Couldn't find a spoon, not one spoon in the chef's arsenal. It was like a bunch of, there's nothing like that. I was like, what the fuck? What kind of shit is this? This isn't even like a real apartment. I was looking for a can, couldn't find that. Finally, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna mix this in one of these ice trays. I took the ice tray out and I broke the ice. I started stirring it in one of the ice cube little slots where it goes. Fucking pull it up. Back then I had these earthworm looking fucking veins. Harpooned it, pulled the plunger back, saw blood. And we'll get into what happens in the next Florida video. You don't have to press like, comment, subscribe, none of that shit. You guys are already good to me. This story gets really fucking interesting though, with those girls, and this is like kind of the prelude to Mike Virgin. This is like a lot of shit that I left out from the original story, like especially this. Like this is a pretty fucked up story that I'm telling. Pretty good one. I'm surprised I've never put it anywhere. Uh, and I know this was like a long lead up, but I'm telling you, the next part of this is a good one. I'm gonna do a pimping video now. I appreciate you guys. Happy 420 to you all, and palabra.